Basically, I knew that I was trans at a very young age. I think I was probably like, I remember as far back as I was 5, but I was pretty sure I was trans even before that. Hold on, I'm just gotta get the camera better situated. Okay, yeah, so I was trans probably like even at a younger age than that, because I always hated wearing dresses and I'd put up a fight about it and just feel really uncomfortable. Pretty much hated everything my mom wanted me to wear. So, and everything that I wanted to wear, she wasn't too happy about, and she didn't like me wearing that stuff. Being trans was a hard road to travel for me because, especially in high school, well, not high school, just school in general, like middle school and high school, is actually when I got my hair cut short. And although I was happy with my appearance and that was more comfortable that way, it also like made it really awkward to use public bathrooms and stuff because, a lot of my classmates knew that I was a girl, but a lot of the rest of the school, like that I didn't have classes with, assumed that I was a boy using the women's room and everything, so it just made it really complicated and really embarrassing, especially when you have people follow you into the restroom and, peer over the stalls to see, like, if you're standing up while urinating or sitting down because they don't know whether you're a guy or a girl, and it's just, school was horrible for me. I think, it's a lot more than just, people being gay or lesbian and have to deal with getting picked on for it. Like, I was always getting picked on for, being a lesbian, even though I wasn't a lesbian. I felt like a straight male, and I just hated that term, lesbian, because it just didn't fit me right, I came out, I was actually 15. At the age of like 12 and 13, I was always going online, going into chat rooms and everything, posing as a young male, to girls, and to try to pick up girls, which that was a huge step in the right direction for me because I finally got to be who I was online, and I didn't have to I basically got to be myself more online than I did in reality. So when my mom found that out, she was like, why are you lying to all these girls, telling them you're a guy when you're really not, and everything else, and she'd fight with me. And it came down to the point where she actually canceled the internet, and I kind of knew in advance that she was going to do that. Sorry, I'm still kind of sick. So, I actually gave some girls my address, my home address, and kept in touch with them. And the one day I wasn't home, I spent like the weekend at my grandparents' house, and she got one of my letters and read it on me and read my mail and everything. And she called me at my grandparents' house and was like, why are you lying to this girl? Basically the same thing she always said to me, you're lying to her, you gave her your address, and, you're telling her that you want to be with her and everything. And I was like, Mom, the reason I don't feel like I'm lying. And she's like, well, how do you not feel like you're lying? You're not a boy. And I told her, I said, Mom, actually, I've looked up some stuff online and I'm transgender. Basically, I feel like I'm a male trapped in a female's body. And once I told her that, she started crying and, so that she always felt like something was different about me, but she didn't know what it was. And coming out to my grandparents, because I lived with them from age 15 on, was a little bit more difficult. They knew I liked women and everything, but my grandmother always said, well, I don't get how you can feel like a boy because you don't have a penis. And I said, Grandma, there's like a lot more to it than just that. And she still doesn't kind of get it, but she's trying. My grandfather doesn't really say much about it. He just kind of just doesn't give a shit. He's like, whatever. Which is kind of good. Because, he has like no opinion either way on it. Let's see. Who else did I come out to then? Mom, my grandparents. Oh, I came out to my dad recently as being trans. Cause him and I don't actually talk that often. I've only talked to him or hung out with him like a couple times in my whole life. And I called him up the one day with the intention of telling him that I was gonna go through transitioning. And he was basically like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. And he was alright with it. He said that he had a lot of people in his family that were gay and everything, so he was cool and accepting, totally fine with it. The only thing is, like, sometimes he still, like, calls me hun and all this stuff, like, as if I was still, like, his daughter. So, I mean, that's one thing he needs to, like, get used to, I guess, but to be honest with you, being I felt like a guy and putting up with a lot of people's crap, I don't have I have a bit of a temper. I don't put up with people's bullshit, and basically I was the bully in school. I rather have been the bully than to be bullied. So that was kind of my way of dealing with things, and it worked. I mean, I would beat up the girls because technically I knew that's what I was, although that's not who I felt I was. So I would beat them up because I was mad that I couldn't be like them, or I didn't feel like them, I didn't fit in with them. And then I'd beat up the boys because, they had they were what I wasn't. They had what I wanted, and they never included me in boy things and everything, so I'd end up beating up them too. I was kind of the bully to everybody. Pretty much all through school I was just a loner, and I still kind of am today. I mean, I'd rather have a lot of friends and chill with a lot of people, but in all honesty, that's not how it is. It's just pretty much me and my girlfriend all the time, so, but that's cool. Yeah, so I think I pretty much mentioned my whole little coming out story, and honestly, being trans is what made me who I am today. I mean, I'm still the same person inside before transitioning, and now it's just I'm a lot happier now. I'm a lot more confident with myself. I more or less like the way I look. The only thing I don't like is when I look in the mirror naked and have to see my chest, because to me, it looks wrong. It looks like it's not supposed to be there, and it just makes me feel awkward. I have really bad chest dysphoria right now, and I kind of always have. Like, the lower regions isn't what bothers me that much because I don't have to really see it. I can deal with that, but I just can't deal with seeing my chest and not being able to, just comfortably wear a t-shirt or go outside in the summer and just wear a beater because, I know people can see me. Even when I go swimming, it's hard for me to even go swimming because people will notice. So that's why I really desperately need to get top surgery. I think that's about it for this week. My video is kind of long, and I guess you will all see me next Monday. Peace.